What's up, Playmakers? I'm your host, Lily Hennick, and it's Friday, which means it's showtime. Starting off the show today with some breaking news and a big insight into track as they are taking on the Big 12 championships this week. We have a lot coming up because it's the end of February and March is approaching fast, and you know what that means. March Madness. We have a big insight and look into men's and women's basketball, along with the start of spring sports. All this and more ahead, but stay tuned, Playmakers, because it's showtime. Here we go. Welcome back, everyone, and starting off the show today with a weekly news update. The Michigan State men's basketball team had its previous home game against Minnesota postponed after a tragic shooting on MSU's campus. They resumed playing this past Saturday night to rival Michigan on the road. Michigan State's men's basketball head coach Tom Izzo gazed into the crowd with tears in his eyes moments before his team played its first home game. The victims, first responders, and survivors from the shooting were recognized with pregame remarks this past Tuesday night. There was also a moment of silence. In the front row of the student section, white shirts were placed on 8 seats for the 3 victims that lost their lives and the 5 that were hospitalized. On behalf of the Playmakers crew, our heart goes out to the victims of the shooting and Michigan State. That's all I have for your weekly news update. Now let's head to Kara with an update on KU track as they take on the Big 12 championship.
Today and tomorrow are huge days for Kansas track as they compete in the Big 12 Indoor Championship in Lubbock, Texas. This season, KU has had phenomenal performances from 3 athletes setting new personal bests and becoming part of KU track history by breaking school records. 2 of them we mentioned last show, Gabrielle Gibson and Alexander Jung, but the last athlete holds great threat to those competing in the women's high jump. Riley Anderson, who has been jumping to new heights, is currently ranked number 2 in the high jump event and has been named Big 12 Track and Field Player of the Week twice. In addition to Anderson, KU has had 4 other athletes ranked in the top 20 of their event, including Clayton Sims, who's 7th in men's pole vault, and Devin Loudermilk, who is 7th in men's high jump. It doesn't stop there. The Jayhawks also have 9 athletes that rank in the top 5 of the Big 12 conference going into the meet this weekend. We're going to head over to Lauren, who will give more details about the Big 12 championships. Lauren, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Kara. Day 1 of the Big 12 Indoor Track and Field Championship began earlier this morning at 10 a.m. for both field and running events and will conclude at 8 p.m. Day 2 will resume at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning to the finals, where we will see the qualifiers compete to become Big 12 champions. Senior Riley Anderson for the Jayhawks is looking to defend her individual title for high jump. Anderson now has 1 third place, 1 runner-up, and 3 first place finishes in this tournament. But both the Texas men and women's teams are the defending conference champions and are looking to repeat. You can tune into this live meet on ESPN Plus or the Big 12 Network, or head over to our socials at Playmakers KU for all of the updates. Live inside of Ann Shute Sports Pavilion, I'm Lauren Ritchie.
The first event of the championship on Friday is the 60-meter hurdles in the women's pentathlon and 60-meter dash in the men's heptathlon. For the running events, the first event to take place is the 800-meter run in the women's pentathlon, followed by the prelims for the men and women's mile run. The first field event to kick off the championships are women's weight throw and pole vault. On Saturday, athletes will compete in the shot put, triple jump, high jump, and the final rounds of all the running events. When we get back from the break, Lily will talk about Christian Brown and Ochai Abachi, as well as some other familiar faces who made a grand return to watch the Jayhawks take down Baylor on College game day.
Yeah, I always just clap at the start.
This is where everyone's talking amongst themselves. Do you know how to do it? Do you know how to do it?
Are we supposed to smile?
When do we start? Somebody over here already started.
Can we talk about the piccolo part? It's the most complicated one.
It is. If you listen, you're doing it when the band's not playing.
You have to tell me when it starts. I still don't know.
Here we go. Just clapping now.
No. Huh. Nailed it.
I practiced this morning. Tomorrow is just two people.
It has a right and a wrong way of doing it. No. Wrong.
I like my way better.
I don't know how to do the end.
It's just.
I don't know the head.
It's hard by yourself. As we near the end of February and approaching the beginning of next month, it brings us to the best time of the year, March Madness. Last Saturday, College Game Day was in town for the Jayhawks' Big 12 matchup against Baylor. The Jayhawks did not disappoint. Down 45-32 at half, KU came back in a dramatic fashion to win 87-71. And who was in the building to witness a great comeback? That's right, the players from the 2022 National Championship team. Christian Brown, Ochai Agbaji, Remy Martin, and more were there to witness great KU basketball. Speaking of the reigning national champs, the last time they were all together in Allen Fieldhouse, KU was getting ready for its March Madness run. And guess what? Here we are again. March is on its way and the Jayhawks are peaking at the right time. Jackson Reed is here at the roundtable to talk to us about the tournament. Jackson, what are you thinking and how does KU look right now and who should they look out for in the postseason?
Thank you very much, Lily. And yes, KU does look very good right now, but obviously on this episode of Roundtable with Reed, Jackson Bezdek, Blake Sevenbergen, we're going to go a little bit different direction. But first, let's get it started, fellas. Your teams that you think can win it all. Blake, you start us off.
I'm going to start it off. I'm going with the Houston Cougars. They're currently number 1 in the AP poll, number 1 in KenPom. They're 26-2, number 4 ranked offense, number 6 ranked defense in the country. When you've got numbers like that, not a single one that's double digits, that's pretty good.
It's for a reason.
Obviously, they play in an awful basketball conference,
That is
but
true.
they've also got some pretty good wins. And Marcus Sasser is a great guard. Jarris Walker is also a good basketball player. They're a tough pair to slow down in the big moments in March. I think Houston's got a chance to go all the way.
Bez, you're going toward another team that has a great duo, and who are you picking?
I'm super happy I'm picking UCLA right here, and let me tell you why. In a year where there's not...
Look at this. Bears
There's
the
not
backcourt.
one. There's not one
This
this
year. I want a team with experience. Jaime Jaquez Jr. and Tiger Campbell are two seniors that have started for 3 years now for this team. And I think having these two guys on their roster, Jaime Jaquez 17 a game, Tiger Campbell 12 and 5 assists. These two guys are the catalyst for this offense, and I want them on my team in March. Just like with Kansas and DeJuan Harris and Jalen Wilson, I want Tiger Campbell and Jaime Jaquez, and they have freshman stud Amari Bailey, who is putting up 10 a game. They're 11-1 when he scores double figures. Just
So you guys have Sasser and Jaquez and Tiger Campbell. You guys have guys. I've got the guy in Zach Edey and Purdue. They're not a conventional national championship team. They're not a team that fits all the molds of a national champion, but they've got Zach Edey, and other teams don't have Zach Edey. So it's pretty simple. I'm going to roll with Purdue until the wheels fall off. Next, fellas, we got a little bit different of a prompt. Team that could be on upset watch going into March Madness.
Yeah, see, this is an issue now because Bess thinks the team that
Interesting.
Listen, the Pac-12 is stinky like a hockey bag. UCLA only has 2 good wins the entire season. I mean, like, their 2 ranked wins are Maryland and Kentucky, who are not even ranked and both have been on the bubble at one point this year.
Yep.
Yes, Jaime Jaquez and Tiger Campbell are unbelievable. If they get going, this is going to be one of my worst takes I've had in a while.
There's been a lot of them.
Here's the thing. Their offense is ranked 24th, and their defense is ranked 2nd. Yeah. Who are they playing on a night-to-night basis? Their defense is going to look awesome when they're playing teams that are 4-13 in the conference.
They're playing at 9 o'clock at night when you're in bed.
That's true. You're not even seeing it.
Your team to get upset, they're
All right.
something we're pretty familiar
this
with.
This isn't a KU pick. This is I think K-State's been overrated all year pick. Just now, after their win against Baylor, is the first time they've been top 20 all season and net and KenPom. That means, statistically, metric-wise, they don't stack up very well. They're supposed to be this great offense with Keontae Johnson and Marquise Noel. They're not even top 50 in the country in offensive efficiency. And Marquise Noel, that was a fun, cute story at the beginning of the season that he makes logo threes, but I haven't seen him hit one in 2 weeks, and they need to figure something out on the offensive end.
I'm going with another Big 12 team. This team is only good inside the 4 walls of the Hilton Coliseum. That's the Iowa State Cyclones. Next, last little prompt. Your sleeper team. Run through these quick, Blake. You have got the NC State Wolfpack.
Yeah,
Good team.
NC State gave Kansas a run for their money early on in
did.
the season. They have this backcourt pair of Terquavion Smith and Jarkel Joyner, who are absolute buckets. They both average almost 18 points a game. I mean, these guys are studs. They're 22-7. They've got some good wins. They beat Duke earlier this year. NC State could make some noise. If they get hot, watch out.
And Bez, a conventional pick, but one that people maybe aren't familiar with, Oral Roberts.
Oral Roberts, Max Amis, 23 points a game, one of the best guards in the country, have won 17 in a row, haven't lost in conference play, and they're the only non-Power 5 team to have not lost a quad 2 through 4 game.
And lastly, I'm going to wake you up. You're going to be like, what logo is that? That's Utah Valley.
Wagon.
Wake up, everybody.
Wagon.
The Wolverines are here. They're going to make some noise. But, fellas, thank you very much.
Sound
As we
asleep
know,
on
March,
Wolverines.
right around the corner. And, of course, we got a little bit more of some basketball stuff. Mr. Juco Breeze, talk to me about Jalen Wilson.
Throughout the season, Jalen Wilson has looked like one of the best players in the nation. However, during the first 14 minutes of Saturday's win over Baylor, he did not look like himself. He had 0 points and then missed this wide-open layup. Following the unprecedented miss, Wilson pulled off the arm sleeve that he wears on his left arm.
I just had to see something different. Obviously, what I was doing wasn't working at that time, so I just threw it off just to kind of just release a little bit of anger, and, ended up working. So.
And work it did for Wilson. He went on to score 21 points and lead a 33-point turnaround for the Jayhawks. We saw LeBron do something similar in the 2013 NBA Finals when he took off his headband and led a comeback for the Miami Heat. Wilson's arm sleeve game may not rival LeBron's headband game, but Wilson did try taking it off again during his 7-point performance against TCU. He's taken it off twice now, and it's something to look for when the Jayhawks play the West Virginia Mountaineers right here in Allen Fieldhouse tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Thanks, Joe. I'm a bit of a superstitious person myself, so I'm hoping Jalen does not wear the arm sleeve in the next game. Speaking of, number 3 Kansas is set to take on West Virginia tomorrow at 3 in Allen Fieldhouse. The two teams met earlier this year in January in Morgantown, where the Jayhawks beat the Mountaineers 76-62. Going into this game, West Virginia is coming off of a win, beating the OSU Cowboys 85-67 on Monday, breaking a 3-game losing streak. And KU is on a winning streak going into tomorrow's game after beating the Horned Frogs from TCU 63-58 on Monday. After taking an early 22-10 lead in the team's first matchup this year, the Mountaineers never let the lead go more than 5 points.
Whenever you play West Virginia, I think you have to be aggressive offensively because they're going to play very aggressive defensively. So, you can't be timid. So I think getting to the paint, when you play Bob's teams are always something that's important to do because they'll blow up handoffs and deny one pass away, which puts pressure on your players to go make plays.
Eric Stevenson and Trey Mitchell continue to be the Mountaineers' top scorers this season. If KU can continue to have numerous players on the team end up with more than 10 points for the game, then the Jayhawks should pull off a win. Kansas freshman Grady Dick has been on fire lately, averaging about 20 points, and team leader Jalen Wilson averaging 15 points per game for the past 4 games. The Jayhawks look to series sweep the Mountaineers in tomorrow's matchup. As March approaches, KU is doing all they can to stay at the #1 spot in the Big 12. If they win out, they secure the top spot. After tomorrow's matchup, the men's team closes out their season on Tuesday against the Red Raiders from Texas Tech for senior night. Lily, I know the men's basketball team aren't the only ones coming to an end on their regular season. What can you tell us about the women's team?
I'm definitely excited for that matchup, Kristen. Let's talk women's basketball. This Sunday, the Lady Jayhawks face at Allen Fieldhouse against the Oklahoma State Cowgirls. KU is looking to get back into the win column after suffering a 63-45 loss to K-State on Wednesday night. The Jayhawks led 15-12 until midway through the second when the Wildcats pulled ahead. Zakiya Franklin led the Jayhawks with just 10 points, and the team only shot 31% from the field.
We just can't have that big a dip because it affects momentum big time.
The Jayhawks fall to 16-10 on the season, while the OSU Cowgirls are currently on a 6-game win streak. KU will definitely need to be on its A-game Sunday. The Cowgirls took on Iowa State on Wednesday and pulled out a 73-68 win, bringing them to 20-7 on the season. After Wednesday, KU stands at 6-9 in conference play, while OSU stands at 10-5. After only putting up 45 on the road in Manhattan, KU needs to find a way to get its offense rolling if they want to pull out a win. Tiana Jackson will need to get in her groove, while the team as a whole will have to focus on protecting the ball and preventing turnovers. Keep an eye out for OSU's offense because leading scorer Naomi Elnadas is going to be hard to stop.
This game is going to be a fierce battle between two great teams, and I'm excited to watch. That's all I have for now for KU women's basketball, and we'll be back with more action after the break.
The weather is warming up, so you know what that means. Spring sports have sprung into action this past week, and the Jayhawks are looking great as we begin seasons for both the men's and women's spring sports. Swinging into the spring season, here's Emily and Sydney with a preview on KU tennis.
It's been an exciting week for KU tennis as the team has been preparing for a border showdown with Mizzou, and the Intercollegiate Tennis Association ranked Kansas at number 21 this week. This is the first tennis border showdown in nearly 12 years, and needless to say, the energy surrounding the matchup has ramped up as the week has gone on.
Everybody always loves a good rivalry, and I think you always feel that tension, the extra pressure, but it makes it really fun, competitive atmosphere, so that's kind of what I'm looking for, and I think the team is too.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're also going to have a lot more fans since it's the border showdown, and we can't wait to get them excited about it too. So.
Although the border showdown adds an extra layer of excitement to the match, Coach knows what the team needs to stay focused on.
Being disciplined, being tough, being gritty, those are things we talk about every day. We've got two big matches this weekend, but we've got to focus on Missouri first, and then once we finish, win or lose, we'll focus and put our energy into SMU on Sunday.
While the border showdown is a big matchup, the teams following 9 opponents will also be against currently ranked teams. This team will be put to the test, but Coach says everyone likes the challenge.
We don't want to breed false confidence by playing somebody we know we can beat. We always want to play the best so we know exactly where we're at, win or lose. We know what we need to work on. We know what we're doing well. So it's about competing against the best and then seeing where you are. And that's what prepares you for postseason play, and that's our goal.
One thing that is going well for this team is Jocelyn and Roxana winning their doubles matches. The two are currently on a 5-match win streak and say it's all thanks to their connection.
I think we're really good at lifting each other up, even when things go wrong. We keep each other pumped, positive, so it's just been a really good connection between us.
Yeah, I feel the same thing, just about the connection. Even off the court, we're very open, and we tell each other what we want to work on and what we want to get better at.
The border showdown starts at 4 p.m. this afternoon at the Jayhawk Tennis Center.
Thanks, Emily. Sounds like a big matchup for tennis, so be sure to tune in. But that's not the only spring sport getting into the swing of things. KU baseball and softball have both started their seasons in places other than Kansas because of warm weather, of course. But Carson and Richie are here to give you everything you need to know about how both teams are doing so far. So, Richie, walk me through baseball's first series. How is the team looking with the new head coach?
Hey, Lily. Things are rolling not only for the softball team, but also for the newly led Jayhawks, as Dan Fitzgerald is off to a good start in his first year coaching the Jayhawks.
And who's better to break it down than us?
Hey, no one. And that's why your favorite duo is back to talk about KU baseball and softball. Carson, why don't you blow this popsicle stand and get things started with the boys on the diamond?
All right, Richie. The weather has been getting warmer, which means it's time for the sun to shine on the beautiful baseball field. The KU baseball team started their season last Friday in Corpus Christi, Texas, and faced off in a series against Valparaiso. The boys took a dub in 2 out of the 3, so the Jayhawks are currently sitting at 2-1. Starting today, the baseball team takes on Oakland in a 4-game series down in Cleburne, Texas. This is the beginning of a 20-game stretch featuring just 1 home game in Lawrence.
Wow, Carson. The boys are in for a long start to the season. But they aren't the only ones who have to learn how to get comfy in hotels, because the softball team is also trying to be road warriors. They play their first 10 games on the road and also be playing their next 10 games on the road. Carson, when you add that up, the ladies of the Diamond start their season with 20 straight road games. Wow. However, in the first 10 road games, the girls are 6-4 and hope to continue piling on the wins.
Now for one of the biggest stories from the baseball team's first 3 games was freshman Cody Jojinga. The freshman from Hawaii had a home run in his first career start. Not to mention, this was the very first pitch he saw. What an incredible beginning to the young man's career.
The first pitch? Now that's how you start your season and career.
Any key players on the softball team so far?
Well, now, so far, junior catcher Lyric Moore has had no problem playing on the road. Carson, listen to this. With a minimum of at least 10 games played, she currently leads the Jayhawks in average, hits, doubles, triples, slugging percentage, RBIs, and is tied for first in home runs.
Wow, Richie, that is unreal.
Oh, and Carson, how can I forget? She also won the season's first Big 12 Player of the Week award, Kansas' first winner since 2019. I can't wait to see what the Lady Jayhawks and more can accomplish this season.
Well, Richie, I'm excited to see how the baseball and softball seasons continue to play out for the Hawks. With more on baseball, and more specifically a KU grad who has brought his love for the game outside of Lawrence, let's see what Chad has on Jim Small.
Thanks, Carson. Recently, I had the privilege of sitting down with Jim Small, who's a KUJ school alum and president of the World Baseball Classic. First pitch of the 2023 games is only 2 weeks away, so Jim shared some memories of the 2017 games.
We were kind of concerned. What would the World Baseball Classic look like after 17? We had such a high.
Mhm.
You know, the U.S. team won.
I don't want to interrupt, but I was at the game where Adam Jones made the catch.
Oh, you were? Wait. Oh,
that was ridiculous.
amazing, right?
Oh, incredible.
Get well out to right center field. Jones still on the move, running out of room, and he makes the catch!
When you think about, you know, the picture of that, like with the flags in the background, and then Machado doffing his cap afterwards, it was everything that the World Baseball Classic is.
The WBC's unique ability to unite cultures from all over the world through the game of baseball helps create an electric environment where players feel most comfortable expressing their emotions.
If you go back and look, and I don't know if you can show this video, there is a play in the Puerto Rico Dominican game in 17 from Miami where there's a throw down. Yadi Molina is thrown down to Javi Baez, and Baez is taking the throw and points because he knows he's got the guy out, and he's pointing, and he never looks at the play, and he just goes and does the tag. It's the best thing I've ever seen in 40 years of baseball, right?
Amazing.
And you can see that it's a celebration of baseball. It's the fiesta, it's a festival of baseball. And I think that because the World Baseball Classic not only allows this, it encourages it. I think you're seeing more of it in Major League Baseball. And as Major League Baseball, we embrace that. We love it. We think it's great for them to be able to show the passion that they have for the game.
Baseball looks a lot different than it did back in 2017, but one thing is for sure, there's never been as much young star power on display until right now. With stars like Trout, J-Rod, Ohtani all ready to take the stage when the games start on March 11th, the World Baseball Classic is ready to take the world by storm. For Playmakers, I'm Chad Cushing.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
For most of us, I think it's safe to say if you didn't know who Mac McClung was before the All-Star weekend, you know who he is now. With only 2 games of NBA experience under his belt during his stints with the Los Angeles Lakers and the Chicago Bulls, McClung dominated last Saturday's dunk contest with a near-perfect performance. 3 of McClung's 4 dunks earned him straight 50s, and not to mention he completed all of them on his first attempt. He opened the contest by taking the basketball from his friend who was sitting on another friend's shoulders. For his second dunk, a whirling helicopter two-handed 360 earned him a 49.8. McClung finished the final round by a pronounced double pump before finishing the dunk with a two-handed reverse for yet another perfect score. And for his final flourish, McClung put on his Gate City High School uniform and threw down a 540-degree two-handed dunk to run away with the trophy. The euphoric group of All-Stars in attendance were stunned by what they had just witnessed. McClung said he would be back to defend his crown next year's All-Star game in Indianapolis if the league invites him back. Still on basketball, but bringing it back local, Courtney Potson went to campus this week and asked students about KU March Madness. Courtney, take it away.
All right, Playmakers, March Madness is right around the corner, and we're going to hear what the residents of Daisy Hill have to say about KU going into the tournament.
Which 2 teams do you think will be competing for the national championship title?
Definitely KU and maybe Houston.
I think it'll be tough in the Final Four, but KU versus Arizona.
I would really like to see like a KU-Bama matchup.
I believe it will be Kansas and Alabama this year.
KU and Villanova.
Kansas and Kentucky.
Do you think that KU is going to win the Big 12 Conference Tournament?
Yeah.
Duh. Yes.
If they win the game on Saturday, I think so. Yes.
I think Texas will take it, but I think that will fuel Kansas do well in March.
Do you think KU has an actual chance to go back-to-back this year?
Yes, absolutely.
I do. I think they have really good shooters. Defensively, they've been playing really well, and I think Jalen's going to bring them to the title.
Absolutely. If their defense is strong and they can rebound the ball, then yes, definitely.
Absolutely. Of course.
I think they have like the potential to, and I'm not going to like sugarcoat it because I think that there's a lot of things that are different from last year's team, but I'm hoping.
What seed do you think Kansas is going to go into the March Madness tournament ranked at?
First seed. Number 1.
Either a 1 seed if we win the Big 12 championship, or if not, probably a 2 seed.
Definitely number 1. Oh, number 1 for sure. No, I have high hopes. Maybe like 15, 16. No, I'm just kidding. Number 1.
I think they'll be a 1 seed.
What do you think the team this year lacks that the team last year had?
Oh, chat.
Seniors. I think we lack confidence in our shooters.
And then in contrast, what do you think this year's team has that last year's team didn't?
Mr. Dick. I think DeJuan has gotten better at the point guard position.
Well, Playmakers, that's all we have for today, but be sure to stay tuned on our socials at PlaymakersKU for more bonus content. Until then, remember, it's not about the game you play, but the plays you made. Rock chalk, and see you guys next time.